the lady of the hour. We all know who she is. She has a background in construction and in the beauty industry, and she has overcome things that a lot of us probably would not have. And you know how she's been able to do that? Because she keeps him first in her life. She is the walking example of what he wants from all of us each and every day in life. You know what I mean? If you had the opportunity to be in her presence, you can feel the energy. And, she's also, outside of this business, she's leading, and everything she do, she keeps him first. She is the wing warrior. We all know and love her. She's a regional vice president in this business. She goes over and beyond to help each and every one that reaches out to her. And even if you don't reach out to her, she's reaching out to you. So without further ado, I like to bring up none other than Miss Jocelyn Driskill, a true child of the true king. Miss Jocelyn, are you there?
Good morning. You make my heart smile. I told that to Catherine this morning. It's awesome to be here and be back with every single one of you here. It's been a while. It's been a while. And Mr. Clemens, you are a true blessing and a gift to this world. You are a true child of the King, that's for sure. And I really appreciate everything you've done for me in my business, in my personal life. He can say those words about me, but he can just point the finger right back to him, right? Because that's truly who he is. And you will own a jet like that someday. Look at that jet. I love it. I always told Tony, we're going to have one of those, but I don't want to fly it. We need to have a pilot flying it. So, but anyway, I love seeing him in there because it just looks natural for you, Jabri. So it's so good. And I'm just grateful for you. So just know that I always have you in my prayers. And I'm just grateful every day for your life and who you are to me. And the same for Mr. Thomas. Obviously, this platform and him entrusting all of us to lead here and chat, have a chat and a conversation with each and every one of you that's hopefully will make an impact to one of you. Like I can tell you, every leader that comes here, it's not about the masses, it's about the one. And that's what Mr. Thomas did for me and Tony. We were one of the ones that he has impacted over the years, not just in ACN, but personally, just taking the coaching and the guidance and actually applying it in our daily life really made an impact for Tony and I over the last 14 years. So Mr. Thomas, I know you're not here, but I am so grateful. You're always here. Your presence is always felt. So when you see this later, just know that I'm grateful for you. And so I am going to work hard to get through this message because it came to my heart. I was trying to think about, what I would say to all of you after I'll tell you yesterday. So those of you who know me, I want to also thank you for your prayers because this girl's standing today because of your prayers. And you might hear a few tears today. And I guess that's something I need to do. But it's because each and every one of you have made an impact in my life and why I can stand here and share a message that I will get through. I promise I'll get through it. So keep praying for me, right? It's taken me a while to get back here. Just know I've always been here in spirit. And I've heard a lot of your messages, those of you who have trained on here, and they have helped me as well. So this message today comes from a place that I started with something, and then God just changed it all up yesterday. So it's going to come right from the heart. It's going to maybe sting a little. It's gonna cause a lot of questions. I believe that I'm going to leave you with a lot of questions that I pray that each and every one of you will start to answer and start to apply and do things that will truly, because we can show up here every day on leadership and we can be led by the greatest leaders, but unless we actually apply and we step into our life and we realize, like Mr. Clemens said, you know, tomorrow isn't promised. And I know that more than ever in my life, right? You all know that. So those of you that don't know me or maybe new here, I lost my husband exactly 6 months ago. Yesterday was the 6-month anniversary. And I have not stepped out of life since that moment had happened. I have not stepped out. Yes, I'm grieving, and it looks different every single day. And everybody needs to be able to do that, right? But life has to move forward every day, because if you're here, God's not done. If you're here, God's not done. So I'm always going to come from a perspective of being Christ-centered, because I'm truly spirit-led. My journey over the years has brought me to this place through all the trials and tribulations that came before it, because of the choices that I made. Because remember, we have to be first responsible for the choices we make every day. And if we don't take responsibility, we can't change what we don't recognize. And so I have done a lot of work on myself. As you can see, I'm wearing my hat that says "She Tapped Out." Jabri and his team helped me create this logo, and it is the cross with my boxing gloves around it. And I have been in the fight of my life in the last 6 months, but I've also been there before in other areas. But I will tell you, this fight is different. And it's not my fight. It's his fight. And that's where I've learned to be able to take everything that I have done work on myself. And my marriage was able to really propel that in me. My husband was supportive of everything. So I'm going to talk from many different perspectives. I was a single mom for 8 years raising my daughter before I met Tony. I was a business owner as a cosmetologist, and I stepped in the hardest moments of my life, because I will also tell you, when my daughter was 5, her dad passed away. Some of you know that. So I'm no stranger to this walk, except that it is a little bit different being married 25 years with a loving, incredible best friend that I have. And I say have because he's not gone. His spirit, he's right here. I don't know, he's right here. I feel him. And his way he embraced life every day, and the way he took on life, like he worked hard so he could play hard. Right? And I think every single one of you want to know how to live a life like that, because when you can live a life like that, you're living well. And I will tell you, this world will bring punches left and right. That's why I have these boxing gloves hanging around the cross. And the book that I have finished, I had finished it February 14th, called She Tapped Out by Tapping In. It's my journey over the years of finding the place of surrender. I tapped out to God, not tapped out of life. And I tapped back in to the spirit-led life. And that is what the book is all about through all the chapters. I finished it February 14th, 2023. And that was Valentine's Day. And I got to tell my husband that I finished. What a blessing for me to at least tell him that I was finished with it, and it was in the editor's hands. Now, 1 week to that day was the day he died. And so tragedy strikes. It strikes everyone. So if you've lost a spouse or a loved one that means so much to you, I am so sorry, because I will tell you that their life matters. Their life matters, and you can live your life in honor of their life. And that's how I choose every day, is to move forward in business and in my personal life to be an example to others, including the next generation that I am raising with my family, which is my grandchildren. My grandchildren will never know they will know, but they will never know how that they can't do anything. They will always know that they can do anything because they have the example. Their grandfather instilled it in them. They called him Poppy. And he was such a great example for how to live life. But how do you live the life that you want if you don't prepare for it? And if you don't put the plan in place and start chiseling at the plan. See, 14 years ago, we were in a place that was not such a good place. Tony and I were building our marriage. We got married in 1998. I came into business with him. I was a hairdresser. So those again that don't know me, I was a hairdresser for 28 years. I loved what I did. And I'll tell you, it got me everywhere I needed to be for my daughter as a single parent. I stepped in, I worked hard, I worked a lot. I didn't have the privilege to stay home. And if you do, I'm so grateful that you had that privilege. But I also know that's work as well. So I get that. I know that it's hard to stay home with your kids and raise them. That's what do you call it? It's work in itself, right? It takes a lot. So I will never take that away from a parent because I know that's a choice that your family was able to make. I unfortunately was not able to make that choice, but I was able to step into the world of business that my dad taught me so well. I had jobs prior. I worked for my dad as an office manager in his architecture business where I learned construction, but I also learned business. See, who are you learning from? Those are the things that you also want to think about. Who are you truly learning from that's going to propel your life? Are you not just taking notes, but you're actually taking those notes and applying them and stepping into your life every single day, even if you're stay-at-home mom or you don't have to work today. What are you doing every day that puts you into the forefront of your next best self, your future, right? So when I, growing up and learning from my dad, but then I got to work for him for 10 years, learning the business side, that was a blessing for me. If you don't have that in your family, go take business classes. I mean, you get a lot of business here, right? In ACN, you are taught by some amazing business outside of this business are business owners, and you can be mentored. You heard Mr. Byron Nelson on Friday say, ask for 10 minutes of someone's time, so that you can learn. That you can't say, I didn't have a dad like you who could teach me. No, you have so much to your Zoom and YouTube can feed you so much, but you have to apply it. So my topic today, actually, before I start that, is 2007, 2008, 2009. How many of you felt the tank of the economy? Well, Tony and I, in the construction industry, high-end residential home builder, my husband, very successful prior, very talented, just very smart, and made some incredible decisions. And I just, as his wife, stood beside him and was excited about the dream and the vision. Isn't it great when you're beside someone, whether they're a spouse or a friend or someone you love, has a dream and a vision? It can rub off on you. So rub shoulders with people who have dreams and visions, because then it'll rub off on you. And he and I really illuminated our marriage in a time of great loss. Many people, I will tell you, lost their relationships. They got divorced in the midst of a downturn economy. Our love and our life only got bigger and stronger because of it. Now, it was not good when we were in it. We lost everything, millions and millions. We had $12 million on the market, all gone, taken away like a flash. So I asked this question because this is the question I'm going to start with, which is called what if? What if? What if tomorrow doesn't come? Are you ready? Are you prepared? See, my husband got on a snowmobile and within 5 minutes, he was gone. 5 minutes. It's a flash like that can actually either propel your life in a different trajectory, whether it's up or it's down. And when I say what if, and I want you to put that in big bold letters, I did, and a question mark. What if tomorrow, and you knew it, what would you do? What would those next 24 hours, if you had that, look like? Now, whether it's you or the person you sit beside every single day, sleep beside, whatever that looks like for you, what if? So I wrote some things down here. I want to share them, and I'm going to read them from what I wrote down because I want them to come out exactly how I'm sharing them. So write this down as well. Preparing the plan. You've heard me say it before. It's been a while, probably last year. But preparing the plan is what we did when we saw ACN. Now, I'm going to also tell you, you got to say a lot more yeses than less no's. A lot more yeses. If you want to attract the people that say yes, what do you got to be? The yes person. Not no, 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 right? Some things you have to say no and set boundaries with, but you got to say yes more than you say no. So preparing the plan. I got to put my glasses on now, because I'm going to get here to reading. So what does your life look like financially today? What if tomorrow comes and the one who makes the money or the money flow is not coming in? Are you prepared? Now, when I talk about financially, because I'm going to tell you my journey of being able to step into my life every single day since the moment that happened has been because I didn't have to, one of the things, I didn't have to worry about money. There are so many people in this world that have lost like I have, and they have to worry about money. So guess what they're doing? They're showing up to work every single day. They have to. And it is really hard to grieve and to plan for celebrations of life and all the things that death can bring. It's a lot. It's a plate full that overflows onto the floor. It's a lot. I had a business I had to shut down, right? Construction company. And it's been 6 months. And I look back and I go, how the heck did I do it? How did I do it? Well, first of all, it started with preparing the plan. I will tell you, no one ever prepares the plan. It's not something you're totally thinking about it to lose someone like Tony, like the love of your life, right? You're not preparing that. You're not thinking about that. But God, when you put him in the center, and I'm just going to continue to come from my truth, he will help you prepare because he knows. He knows when that day is for each and every one of us. We don't. So what do we have to do every day? We have to take action every day. We have to have tough conversations. Write that down. Are you and your spouse, or you and your significant other, or you with you having the tough conversations? Because Tony was so good at having the tough conversations, the ones that hurt, the ones that you don't want to talk about. But because he initiated, and I'm not saying I didn't either, because we had that relationship, the tough conversations happened, and God could continue to prepare us for what he already knew was coming sometime in our marriage. And ACN was a part of that. I am so grateful that my friend, who is not an ACN anymore, she didn't even last weeks, but she talked to me. She mentioned to me, she said, well, she wanted to have my opinion. She knew Tony and I, we built their home. In fact, I'm going to end with something her husband wrote which is ironic that I'm talking about her. But Judy was a very sharp, smart, she still is. She, you know, gets out there and is a go-getter. Like, she has it. And she saw ACN and she got started. Well, she came to me and asked me if I could do her a favor and take a look at this business project that she was excited about, had residual income attached to it. And guess what? I said yes. I didn't say no. I didn't say I wouldn't think about it. I said yes, because guess what? I was praying. Tony and I were praying for something to change. If I said no and was skeptical, because people do that, what are you going to show me? What? Nobody can force me to do anything. I have an open mind and I can sit there and listen to information, right? So I did. And in seconds, because I had prayed, I knew it was the answer to the prayer 14 years ago. So ACN was in the plan that God had put in front of, that he had already prepared. You know that he had already prepared that because the prayers were out there. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? God, what are we going to do? And that came. So January of 2009, Tony and I started our journey with ACN. And we have never stopped chiseling at ACN, no matter what life happenings, losing my father, losing his father, trying to get over the financial, because, you know, you start a new business, everybody thinks, you know, I don't know what they think. You start a new business, it takes time and effort and money, because you should invest in yourselves to build a business. I don't care what business it is. We knew that. Now, you might have to teach people that, and you need to put that out on the table in the beginning and let people know. It takes time, effort, and you can chisel. You can do it part-time. You don't have to quit your job, shut your business down. None of those things. You can have ACN and work at it part-time. What does Jim Rohn always say? Work part-time on your fortune and full-time on your wages. So eventually the full-time becomes your fortune. Is that right? Now, timing, who knows what that timing is? 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. How much effort can you put in? What you put in is what you get out. And sometimes it was less effort from us but we were still doing it. It never, let's say ACN is this book. This book never went farther than there, which is sitting right next to my right hand from me. ACN was always right here. If I can put it into a term, it was always right here in the forefront of my mind and his mind. We were always, when we went out into the world, we didn't go out and recruit. We went out in the world and did our life and our businesses, and we recruited, right? We got business partners, we got customers, because we were doing life and we weren't out there to just recruit. We were out there to talk to people, share a gift that changed our life. And if it was a fit for them, great. If not, they became a customer. So all I'm saying is life will fall apart. Money, you might go through a financial tragic thing like Tony and I did. And I know there's many of you on here that went through that, and maybe you going through it now. You can get to the other side of it. And ACN is a great vehicle to stay plugged into, to be in these leaderships, to get to make sure you're in Orlando. We're going to talk about that. I will tell you, after Tony died, 21st of February, many of you know I was in Dallas. I was in Dallas. And that was one of the hardest things to do, but I put my foot on the ground and I stepped into that airplane and I got my butt to Dallas because I needed it. You know, sometimes the event needs you and sometimes you need the event. And I don't necessarily it's not about the event, it's the people. My heart needed you. My heart needed a hug. My heart needed, you know, it needed people. And we sometimes go and isolate ourselves because we're embarrassed or we're ashamed or we're not, you know, we're not feeling like it. I will tell you, you've heard me say this before, in business, you can't have emotion. But but life will bring the emotion. Now it's what you do with it, how you propel it, how you push it, have it push you instead of withdraw you. If you can see that visually, have the emotion push you into what you don't want to do, not withdraw you from what you feel like you shouldn't be doing or can't do. Because that was the greatest thing that I did. As hard as it was, face to face, talking to people. But what else? What else? Others needed to see me. I think some of you needed to see me there, to know that I was okay, that I'll be okay. It's not what I want. It's not what I planned. It's not what I knew. But God has me. And you needed to see me do that. You needed to see me walk through it. You need examples in your life so that because some of us don't have those examples of grace and someone being able to step into a life and a world where it's unknown, right? It's all unknown, the next steps. I didn't have any clue that I would be single at 58. Again. So what if that happened to you? What if, it happened to your family and you're the one bringing in the money financially? And it's not just about money, it's about time, because Tony and I were able to get the time with the money where we could live the big life that we loved, right? And God wanted us to live that, right? Being out there, enjoying each other, enjoying the grandkids when they came, enjoying our daughter and our son-in-law, all of those things. And you need the time. You can't just have the money. So you can work. And I see people do that because some people have jobs and they're working it around businesses around ACN around it. So I get that. But you have to, just like Tony, plan if you have a significant other, plan dates, even if it's one day. I'll tell you, ACN events that was our vacation. We didn't take any vacations for years except ACN international events together. That's what we did, so that we could live the life. So we made the best of everything. And that was the best thing we did, because we got to see new places we would never have gone, like Philadelphia, right? Places we would never have gone to if it wasn't for ACN. And so we would take a day and go see all the sites and do all those things together, have dinner together. Those are important. So financially, think about financially in your own world. Do you have investments? Like, are you liquid? Like you can sell stuff if you need to. I'm going to talk from many perspectives when it comes here, personally, financially, all of those things. Cash in the bank. They always say you should have at least $75,000 in the bank, or triple your yearly income, right? Do you have that? Do you own a home? Are you working towards owning a home? Because, some of you are younger, some of you haven't had the opportunity to buy a home, but are you thinking like that? Because not only ACN can give you all of these things, time and money together, but it can teach you how to invest. People like Mr. Thomas is teaching people how to invest. Mr. Byron Nelson, right? How to invest. I'm going to ask all of you, do you have life insurance? I know a lot of young people, and even people that are don't have life insurance. And you may never use it, and I hope you don't. But what if? Do you have it? Do you have a trust? Have you made a trust for, even if you're an independent, do you have a trust in who you want things to how you want things to be, right? I'm not going to go into all those details. I'm not an attorney, I'm not an accountant. I just know what my life has been able to accomplish in 6 months and get here, because the journey is real, and I'm going to continue to journey my life totally different. But because of these things, and us having the hard conversations, they were in place. And it made it so easy. The things I didn't know, I could just do very simply. I could travel because I'm not fretting about getting to a job or my business, because both of my businesses now are online, right? Or in person. When it comes to ACN, my brand and ACN, that's my two businesses. No longer is Driskill Construction being the, facilitator of income. I'm single, a single woman. Decisions I need to make, but I am so glad we had the tough conversations and we asked the question to ourselves, what if? See, Tony almost died 7 years ago on the table. Some of you were with me in Charlotte, North Carolina when that was occurring. And that opened our eyes. Was all the plan in place, right? But luckily we'd been chiseling at the plan and we had to continue to have the tough conversations. And I got 7 years. So I have to live grateful for the 7 years since, between those two times that I got with Tony and all the things that I learned. So do you have those in place? Trust, life insurance. Are you chiseling at your fortune part-time? Around, what you're doing full-time, your family, all of those matter. So you got to take time with them. What are you doing consistently to prepare the plan? Because I say, one of the things that I was saying to myself yesterday was, God's work is his, right? So we have to let him do his work. It's bigger than what we can ever do. But we have a lot of work to do, whether it's work to do inside of ourselves and work we must do every day consistently. Consistency is what gets us there. We can't, again, I've said it before, we can't stop and start and stop and start and stop. What if you owned a business? I know Roxanne couldn't stop and start her locksmith company, right? She had to wake up every day and face that locksmith company every single day, just like we did Driskill Construction. I did as a hairdresser, as a single mom. You could better believe whether I wanted to go to work or not, I was going to work. I was opening those doors. So are you doing that with ACN every day? I don't care if it's an hour, it's an hour. It's an hour more than nothing, right? And applying every day something towards ACN so that you can build time and money and a future. How many of you want to leave a family legacy? Because it's very hard to, a legacy personally is one thing, but a legacy financially and making an impact globally, is that your dream, your vision? Because you can. As the song was singing earlier, hey girl, you hope you guys didn't take offense, because I was when you hear me say, hey boy and hey girl, it's your worth and who you are that God says you are, right? So I want you guys to know that every day you have to chisel at ACN. I do. I'm doing something, making a phone call, working on an impact client. I'm doing something every single day. So God's work is his work. So don't try to take his work back, but do your part. Your part is your part, and it takes a lot. It takes, tenacity. Are you working on yourself when it comes? I'm telling you, I stepped back into the world of working out and a personal trainer, and I feel good. And my core, I needed that to center myself, to ground myself to this earth with my core, because I don't know how people do it that are unhealthy and it can't be happy if you're unhealthy, right? You need to take care of yourself. It's important. And it's not that I stepped out of it fully before, it's just that I put myself in it more, and it really helps me focus. So if you do something every day for your health, get out there and walk, do something every day, it'll help you focus, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And that's important. I have this, we made these for Tony, celebration of life, live and love like Tony. And that's what I want for all of you, is to have a life where you feel you can embrace it, live it and love it, and care about people, serve Service is the highest form of love. I will tell you, Tony was probably the biggest servant. Every time we went on a road trip, there was not a moment that God didn't place someone in need for Tony to help. And I say it that way because I know that's the truth. Tony was right there in a snowstorm to help somebody out multiple times. I have videos of this guy getting out of his car. He was not going to pass them by, helping them out. When you can serve at your highest level with the gifts that you have, and all of you have them, you can do that in all parts of your life. Service is the highest form of love. So one of the songs Tim McGraw talks about, or it's called, is Live Like You Were Dying. That's a great song to listen to. And another one he sings that was brand new, and it happened to come out about the time Tony passed. It's called Standing Room Only. Who are you impacting? Who's going to be celebrating your life? Not sad at your funeral, but celebrating the life that you lived, because you lived it well and you made an impact and you loved big and you had a life that people want to be a part of. You all have that in you. So it's something we need to ponder and we need to reflect. I'm just going to kind of leave us with that what if and some of the things that I really feel each and every one of us needs to step into more, preparing the plan. Stepping into your ACN business and being consistent every single day, so that the reason you saw ACN when Tony and I did in 2014, we saw not an end game, because life is an end game when you go home, right? But a life where we could live what we live. I wish I could put you in my shoes and let you see the life that we lived every day, embracing every moment, good, bad, or indifferent, that came together. And now I'm doing it differently. I know my heart, my spirit is connected to Tony's, and those of you who know me know what I'm talking about. And I know he's living it with me every single day, just differently. And I embrace that day so that we have a great day and a great week and a great month and a great year, and our kids and our grandkids get their best grandma and their best mom, right? And I'm still preparing the plan. Remember, you can have a lot of things in place, and money doesn't buy happiness, but money does pay for the things that you need in life to get through this life. And so I'm going to continue. I didn't raise my hand. I don't know. It raised it for me. You can continue to see in my life, me building business. I'm going to build business, and I'm going to make an impact, and I'm going to be right there by your side doing this together. Why? Because it's not about the money, but the money I have to think about and prepare my future as well. What if I live to 100? It takes money. It takes money. I can't outlive the money that I have today. I can't outlive the money I have today if I just depend on that. Does that make sense? I don't depend on what I have today. It's time for you to depend on yourself and know that you can do it. And you can prepare that plan. So I want you to do this in the meantime before I come back next Tuesday. I'll be in Wyoming next Tuesday. Get down a plane this Thursday to go out to where Tony's heart beat super fast. It was his lifeline, and I get to go and enjoy. My mom is there. I'm having to take care of my mom, 85 years old. She's doing amazing, but there's a thing that comes and happens when that happens, right? So it's on me to do as well. And I have a 17-year-old dog that's still here, and she takes a lot of, right? I think she was meant to stay here for me. But this is Charlie. She's blind. She has about 5 teeth, and she is my gift while she's here. But anyway, so life continues. And so I want you to write down 10 things you need to do today if tomorrow wasn't to come. If you knew tomorrow wasn't coming, what are the 10 things you would do today? And next week, I'm going to have a couple of you share those 10 things. And then write down 10 things you need to do today. Let's see. No. Then write down 10 things you must do to step into what God needs you to do to prepare the plan for you, your spouse, your family. If you're married, you're single, you have children, you're a widow, whatever it is, what are those 10 things you need to do in the, let's say the next 6 months, like I just say next 6 months that you need to do. Hopefully you have them. Hopefully the people in your life have them, right? You have to think about those things when you have someone, when loss is definitely a reality. You need to step in. What are those 10 things that you need to do? And those are going to be important things that have to do with time, money, financial, preparation, all of those things that you need to do. And what are 10 things in your ACN business that you could do this week that would be different than anything you've done to prepare the plan? And so with that, I want to read you something, because I want you, and I'm going to try to get through this. I'm going to read this, and this is the end. This will be the end for today. But, you know, I don't ever want you to know. And of course, someday it happens that you lose the love of your life or your best friend or what, or, you know, whatever that looks like, that someone who so matters to your heart and your spirit. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, right? And that's not to be a downer. I just want you to be prepared. Prepare your heart, prepare your spirit, prepare your life. Know that there's always a what if. And you personally can be the example in your family and an impact to people in your space and in your world. But you got to live in a kingdom-minded way. That's coming from me to you. What is a kingdom way? It is definitely a mindset. I would look it up. Dr. Darius Daniels talks about it a lot, so does Michael Todd. But living the kingdom way, where you know where you're going is the kingdom, and you're preparing that here on earth. Does that make sense for those of you? Awesome. So I'm going to read this because I can tell you, for my husband, he lived that way. And there's the friend. So the husband of the gal that shared the business ACN with us, I had a box that people dropped envelopes in at the celebration of life, and he put this in there, and I did not know it was there. So I'm going to try to get through this really quickly, but I want you to see how you want to be as a partner, a friend, someone who stands in the gap, to live this way and to be seen this way by someone who was a friend of Tony's and ours. We built their home for them first, and they became friends, long life friends, and a brother. Tony and Danny will say they were brothers. Is this how you live your life, or are you in the process and being this every day, the kingdom way? So Tony was an absolute badass. He knew the right thing, did the right thing, and he held you account for the right thing. He was gentle, introspective, and though seldom ever necessary, Tony could become fierce, deadly, and dangerous. His fire burned hot enough to heat the whole village, and just warm and soft enough to hold back the entire winter during your sleep of renewal. The protector, out front, on the point, within reach, ever checking back to make sure we're right there with him, showing the way, us struggling a bit, but able to keep up. Of course, Tony knew the best of the best. If he couldn't find it, he'd make it. He ordered the finest wines. He grilled the most incredible steaks. He knew the best people, and everybody knew Tony. We'll put you right here in the front, Mr. Driskill. Just give me a moment to get another table set up. He knew how to amass and cultivate and stitch together all of it. He created villages. He held back the night, and he was incessantly busy doing all of the work. The impossible he made real. Tony mastered fire. He built the pot. the chopping block, the table, your chair. He put the roof over your head and made sure it was straight, the supports plumb and sound, the fountain in the courtyard, the water for your bath, the fire pit around which your dreams, inspirations, sadnesses, and children all grew up and grew wings. Strong, classy, correct. You know where you stand with Tony. He hunted your food, he butchered your meat, he fed you first, and then he ate last. Tony studied techniques, methods, and people. He also was an amazing dancer and a riot stuffed full of laughter. He smelled good. Life deliciously presented him opportunities, and challenges were his playthings. Challenges were his playthings. He had spectacular hands. He took raw materials and made them beautiful. Complicated and intricate things like all of you people, his brothers and sisters and sons and daughters, and so many more who weren't able to be at that celebration. And complicated, intricate projects too. Boundless, tireless, immortal, forever. Tony made strong, permanent, and beautiful people and things, and he left his fingerprints and sensibilities everywhere. How many times did you hear him say, "I'll have a look. I've been thinking about this and I have an idea"? Tony water skied barefoot. He married the smartest, prettiest, most resolute girl. He listened and studied your mouth and your eyes when you spoke, always reaching to get to the core of the truth, to your concepts, even when you were incapable of piecing it all together cohesively. Tony's the one you called, or rather more often than that, the one who called. He was present and with you and totally competent and capable and ready. You thought you were struggling alone, but he had already noticed, and he was a step ahead on the trail towards wholeness. He carried the bags, picked up the check, skipped dessert, well, sometimes, and got dressed for action at dawn on his day off. Tony was cautious. He loved life and never flaunted danger for danger's sake, but he engaged with living in a manner few ever have. He got after it. He loved the great wilderness of Wyoming, and he was wild, untamed too. Yet he loved you and was inspired by you the most. You were his fuel, his passion, and his life's work. Not TD, we all said, not TD, not TD, it's not possible. Maybe me, maybe you, but not Tony, not TD. So what do we do now? I've been trying to figure out what to do now. I've tried to know what the hell he expected us to do now. Did Tony know what to do? Well, I've never known him not to know, and I guess he made it pretty obvious. We do what he taught us. Men, you need to love and show up for your lovers, your followers, and your parents and ancestors. Women, you need to lean into your goodness, wholeness, and the infinite reservoir of the pure safety and goodness of those real masculine archetypes which really do exist and which Tony exemplified to his core. You all must work to master your weaknesses. You burn with curiosity and dive into reinvention like he taught us. Use your hands and your infinite fiery reservoir to power up for the continuation of his pursuit of competency, truth, and beauty. His legacy is your unbridled, passionate goodness. His legacy is your passionate, unbridled goodness. May this continue forever and ever. His spirit is now a legend, and we should let it guide us, inspire us, and hold us to account. He already laid down these tracks for us. He made the path clear, safe, and possible. And to finalize, his name should be a boost of insight. So when you hear Tony, think of why not. It's his name backwards. So let it be a boost of insight, a shot in the arm of capability, endurance, and fearlessness for you. For me, we all should invoke his name with frequency, especially now. Now that Tony has laid down his plow, harness, and his tools, his learnings and lessons all seek new hands. And now that he's already told us how much we meant to him and how much he loved us so, now we need to pick it all up, test our footing, check our back for its resolve, and forge through the hard topsoil into the rawness of the good earth beneath our bodies, oil the hinges, fix the step, have the difficult conversations, backfill into all of the places that Tony lived, thrived, and reigned as the king he was. If you don't think you can do it, I understand, but neither did Tony until He made it his business to figure it all out. So, sorry for the tears, but I'm not sorry. But that is the type of person Tony was and still is. And he will live on, that legacy will live on through me, through my grandkids, because we will live. We will take every moment that we have each day, be grateful for it first, and step into it with arms wide open. So for you, I hope this has been something that has hit at least one person, that you are enough, you are capable, and all of life is waiting for you. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Mr. Clemens. Thank you guys so much for being here, attentive. I love you all so very much. Thank you for putting up with a few tears, but I will see you next Tuesday. With that, take those 10 things and start chiseling. All right, love you guys.